support this man. He needs love. Hello and welcome back to another VOD review. Today we're going to be looking at Orphic here. So before we get started in the gameplay here, I just wanted to go over what my qualifications are so you all know. I am a peak top 500 support player, ending just outside of top 500 one of the seasons. I am now sitting around Masters 2. I have around 5,000 hours on Mercy total, and quite a few on the other supports, so I hope that gives me enough qualifications to talk about support and to look at this game, and hopefully I'll have some useful things to say. So this person apparently just finished their placements around this time, and they were placed plat 5, and they were kind of disappointed because back in Overwatch 1 they were around mid-diamond, which is fair. And I think the first thing I want to start off with by saying is that they changed the distribution, the rank distribution. I recently watched a whole video on it, but basically all of the ranks are shifted down. So this is maybe a little bit more than you would expect to see shifted, but not by much. Plat got... Plat's actually about the same size, but Diamond got smaller by kind of a lot. So you're probably not actually ranked all that differently in comparison to other players. The number's just lower. So that's something to keep in mind, is to try not to be down on yourself about their change like that. I went from Grandmaster 1 to Masters 2, so I felt pretty shitty about myself, I'm not gonna lie. But it's because they changed the ranking systems. I think it was not a great plan of theirs, but that's just something to keep in mind about, like, that's just something to keep in mind. Don't be too down on yourself about things like that, especially because of the rank changes. And of course they're on Mercy, so we need to start off with a Mercy fit check. So I'm just gonna start off by being a complete hater. I don't like this skin. I just don't like it. It fits, it makes sense. I love the little hat, the little sailor hat. That's awesome. But it doesn't vibe with me. It doesn't vibe with me. I like it as like a theory. I really like that the staff looks like a jabber, but I don't like I don't like the skin, so I'm a hater. We opted for no golden gun. I think it's okay with this. I think it works. I do like the golden gun on things in general, but you know, it's okay. And then we got the little Mercy wing, which is thematic because we're on Mercy. I'm okay with that. It doesn't super go with the colors, but you know, the vibe's there. You know, the vibe's there. Before we get into the actual gameplay, the thing I always like to look at first is what's our team comp. So this person actually sent me 2 different codes, so I'm aware that they do play more than just Mercy, so going to be looking to see and make sure that the characters that we're picking make sense for the different situations. They also play some Ana this game. We'll see some different things here. This is going to be post the recent balance patch changes, which does change things a little bit, but not very much. I would say Mercy is ever so slightly more viable now. I think this team comp is fine. It's not like the most meta or anything. I don't see any problems that you're necessarily going to have. I'm going to expect us to start off playing with the Echo here, maybe go over the top of the bridge here, though your Echo might not decide to do that. I'm a little bit worried about keeping your Ana in charge of all of the healing, because Doom is not necessarily the easiest target to hit with Ana. And we are in a platinum lobby, which means your Ana's aim is not going to be the most excellent. It simply isn't. I'm sorry. So all that jazz being said, let's get into the gameplay. We're immediately healing the tank. I don't love to see that. I don't ever have any trust for Anas. Or anyone for that matter. I have trust issues. Let's go back so that I don't ramble through the whole thing. I'd like to see you start off not by healing the tank there and expect your Ana to do it, and then only if she doesn't after like a period of time, then go in and decide that it's your job. But that should be Ana's job. This I like. Be with your Echo. See if they can do stuff. Yeah, I think Echo's a better damage boost target than Kree. So stick with your Echo at first, and then if you notice that someone else is doing way better, like right now, your Kree just killed everything. So you're like, okay, maybe my Kree's a better pick. Good tempo res, make sure everybody's up. You don't need to be that far back. I like the high ground a little bit more, but you can't see your doom. I think just right here. Just hang out over there. Aggressive. Not probably necessary, but totally fine. I like it. Go off. You dropped beam for a second there. Oh, just go play up with your Echo. So just a payload note. Usually you only want one person on the payload, and you want it to be your longer range healer. So in this case, that's Ana. Ana should just be on the payload, and nobody else should be. But you're starting to get really close to the end here, right at the end. So it would actually give you some value to maybe have everybody on point. Nah, they definitely had a touch. I'm not too worried about it. Oh my goodness. Alright. We're glocking people. Alright, I want to see some more of the decision-making process here. We got our Valk. We damage boost for a second and we're immediately like, fuck that jazz. I am the DPS. Alright, we're gonna give DPS tips. I'm not an expert DPS player, but what you should do is kill the Mercy, and then go get the Ana. Don't shoot the Sig first. Because assuming the Ana knows what she's doing, you're not going to be able to damage through Ana heals. You want to shoot the Ana first, or the Sig won't die. But I also am seeing this over here in the kill feed. Your Kree is popping. Your Kree is simply popping, and we're going to want to try and help him out. I caution against playing like that with your Valk. It's not necessarily always the wrong play. I met someone who was like the same rank as me who played only Mercy, who brought the Glock out for all sorts of things. But definitely be more careful making that decision. And then, if you're going to bring the Glock out, you got to hit more headshots. Those are just all body shots. And Mercy does little pew-pew damage. You want to get as much value out of that damage as you can. Aim for the head. There you go. Well, let's see what happens after our murder spree.
Ready to throw in the towel?
This is weird positioning. Your team's just all hanging out on the payload. Your movement there is interesting. It's not like bad. Nobody's there, so it's. Oh, I try and keep any time like this where you don't have your beam attached to anyone, where you're a little orphan Mercy with no guy. I try and keep that to an absolute minimum. I know you're looking at this doom here. Just have your beam connected to one of the people behind you. Just get some potential value and a potential out. Like, I know it's not. It doesn't feel like all that much time, but every time it's not connected, I'm like, that's value you're missing out on. That's good. You do a little jump res. I don't think you could get out of that. That's fine. I would consider pinging for heals, so you can get back in there sooner. That you ping that. I think that's what you were staring at. You weren't trying to raise, you were just pinging it. You spent more time on that than you needed to. I think in general, you're playing this very main healer. You're like, it's my job to keep everyone alive. I think, in this case, it's your job to help this McCree as much as possible. I can't see the stats, so I don't know like exactly how much damage he's doing, but he is in the kill feed constantly. Support this man. He needs love. Also, tell your teammates to get the fuck off the payload. Get off the payload! Get off the payload! Obviously, if you're not a comms person, you don't actually have to tell them to get off the payload. But you were right to have pushed up with the Doomfist because you're the only one who's pushed up, but you really only need 1% more. Interesting choice. Let's go back a little bit because I was yammering over this bit, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Could push forward earlier here. I think you're hanging out on the payload to heal Ana, who is only missing a little bit of health. Again, I'm gonna bring it up again. You're playing main heals Mercy. Just play damage boost at this point. Your team's doing well. And they're not struggling for heals most of the time. You lose like a person a fight, but that's fine because you have reds. Nothing to do about that Doomfist. I would be prioritizing damaging the Kree. I would definitely have priority. I'm not sure what your plan was there. Just went on a little trip, shot some glass, or looked at some glass. I'm not even sure you shot it. Came back down. I'd be interested to know what you were thinking about there, but I can't think of a good reason to have done that at all. You could maybe super jump up here just to have the high ground, but I'd just like to see you damage boost this Kree. Making sure everybody gets out. All good. That was a nice switch to your damage boost there for a second while he shot when he wasn't reloading and wasn't dying. I would have liked to see maybe just damage boosting the Kree until after his ult was over and then use yours. Ooh, that was a mistake. Okay, we have this. We go all the way up here. I think we're looking to heal the Doom. Let the Doom come back to you. He's a Doom. Oh, you're looking to Glock people. Oh, be careful. This is why you gotta be careful. Can we Valk this? We hang out over here. I was just like, put your damage boost beam on these people and just like hang out over here. The enemy team doesn't have line of sight on you if you stay here. Soldier might if he comes back up here and stands like right here, but you could just fly down a little bit and you can see you. And just damage boost people. They're doing well. You go all the way up here and put yourself in a non-optimal position. And then you don't get the Guardian Angel right on your Ana as well until you get hit by this rock. If you're a little bit farther back, you're at the faster part of your Guardian Angel, maybe you don't get hit by that rock. You didn't need to be where you were, so you wouldn't have needed to move over here. This is why you need to be careful when you're choosing to take out your weapon. One of the things to keep in mind most when playing Mercy and using Valk, it's a pretty just throwaway ult most of the time. The thing you want to keep the most in mind is, do their hit scan DPS have ults? You don't want to peek if they have a Widow ult up, you don't want to peek if they have Bob up, you don't want to peek if they have Soldier up, and you don't want to peek if they have Kree ult up. None of those are good for you in Valk because it's really easy to hit you with those. We've been in this game for quite a while and we haven't seen the Soldier ult. The Kree switched more recently, so I wouldn't have necessarily guessed that he definitely had ult. But those are definitely things to keep in mind, and if you don't know or you don't feel confident with ult tracking, just assume they have it and don't peek at all, unless you're sure you can get out without dying. But their team over ults that fight. They use everything. So I'm gonna expect your team to win out this next fight pretty easily. It was interesting. Again, I would just have been damage boosting Kree or Echo there. It can be helpful to try and ballsy. Let's see if there was a better way of doing that. That person dies instantly, you couldn't have helped them. I think if you stand right about here, you can get it while being partially undercover. And that's what you want to go for more than standing here. It's more in the open. It's not a lot more in the open, and you might still die. But it gives you a little bit more cover, and you can back up as you're rezzing and then be right around the corner, like as soon as you finish the cast, as opposed to still having to get out after you cast it. That being said, I would say probably don't go for that at all. You're right next to spawn. Just wait for Skylard to respawn. That way you don't end up staggering. You also start your res after you've already taken 2 sig shots. Or 1 volley, whatever, and you're half. That is either has high expectations for your Ana or low expectations for the enemy team. And I think both are too expectant. And so if you're going to go for this and you take that damage, back off immediately. Not good.
I'm here to support. Need some assistance?
I'd say don't crouch there because there's windows here. They can see you through the windows anyway. They know where you are. So just being faster is more valuable. We're doing the thing where we're playing main heals Mercy again, and I don't think that's the best play for this team. I think your DPS are just more valuable than that. I would like to see you heal the Doom at least up to half there, so that he doesn't kill himself again. Again, I think your deeps are doing well. I wouldn't take the Glock out. Taking the Glock out as a philosophical thing for Mercy for me is best used when your DPS can't hit the thing, or you're in a better position to hit them, or your DPS aren't looking at them. And I don't think so far any of those have been true at any point. I think they've all been within your DPS LOS, your DPS are looking at them, and they're likely going to hit them at some point. So I think at that point it's more valuable to damage boost. Unless you're hitting mad headshots, and I don't see enough of that to indicate that that's the better play. Keeping Kree up.
Heroes never die.
That was too late. That one was too late. He was already dead. So you wasted some of your time. Up to this point, I would say don't clock. At this point, this Kiriko is going to LOS your team, and you got the free movement of Valk. I'd say you can whip it out there. Chase the Kiriko. We decided not to. We go get her now? No, at that point, no. You had a little bit of time there where it would have been better. Honestly, I think if you're paying more attention to healing there, you win this team fight. Like, obviously your team could have clutched without you, but I think that was your fault. No, put the clock away. Thank you. You can't hear me. I would say just hold down right click on him at that point. He wasn't low enough that any... They don't have like a Junkrat that would one-shot him if he's missing just a little bit of health. So just hold the right click until he's shot. Not a big thing. I would just have gone for that res. Because you didn't go... I would say you have 2 choices here, and I don't like what you ended up doing. We're here. Your Hanzo dies. Your Doom is also in and low. You have 3 options. I take it back. You have 3 options. 1, you walk forward and try and heal your Doom. Make sure he gets out around the corner, then you res the Hanzo. Second play, ignore Doom, hope he's a Doomfist, he'll get out on his own. Just res the Hanzo. Which wouldn't have ended up working out. He would have died. But I think that, like... You don't know that. You don't know that he's going to choose to stay and die. Or you can decide that the Doom is already dead. And if the Doom's already dead and your Hanzo's already dead, that fight's lost. Just turn and run away. But instead, you just kind of hang out here. Like, too far back to help the Doom, but not hard running away. I would like to have seen you do that movement a little bit earlier there. I'm not sure if you like know all of the Mercy movement rules. They do change her movement sometimes. But the further you are away from the person you're guarding and angeling to, the farther you can go. So I'd like to see you back up a little bit here towards the back so that you can get more of a slingshot. And then also wait until your Kree's a little bit farther back here. That way you can mitigate as little time as possible being in front of this damage. Because you end up taking kind of a lot of damage here. And almost die. Not quite though. We're on Hanzo now. Something to keep in mind. Just go with your... Okay. What is that person doing? I like our use of Valk. We just use it when we have it. We just use it. And I like that. This is okay. If your team's won out the fight, you can shoot that person. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was one of the few times where you should have been on point. Oh my god, the comeback. That's insane. This is just unlucky, honestly. That wasn't the point cap. Let's go back a little bit more. Let's see if we can turn this. So there's some time here where we're close enough to the payload that we could just be on it. And I know I brought up that you should almost always have one person on the payload. And then twice this game we've had situations where it's better to have more than one person on payload. One of the big exceptions to that rule is when you are very close to capping a point and you've just won a team fight. There's nobody to chase, there's nothing to do necessarily, and the positioning value that you get from positioning further up isn't as valuable as capping the point would be. Anyway, the point is, there are a couple times where it wouldn't mess up your positioning to be on the payload. You're very close to it, just stand up. Just be within range. And I think, again, that would also cause you to cap here. But that being said, I'm going to move on to assuming that we don't do that. We know they have a sigil out. We heard him cast it in spawn. We need to be looking out for that. And one of the ways that you can prepare for a sigil is to have your beam target be very far away from you. If your beam target's very far away from you, that means you are able to fly farther when you launch with Guardian Angel. But it also means that it's faster. If you skip to somebody who's very close to you, I want to see you play back away from your team when you hear a sigil go off. It also helps to have your team not be as grouped up. You want as few people in the sigils as possible so you can peel for them. If everyone's on the sigil, you can't peel for everybody. It was not Glock time. I mean, you could have maybe Glocked if you'd gone around behind the payload, but you gotta be more, a little more careful. A lot more careful. You gotta be a lot more careful. Just too aggressive. You're a squishy little precious baby. And I don't know how that fight would have turned out had you not been rocked at that point. But I'd like to see you position away from being able to be hit by that rock. Or at least far enough away from the sig that it's not as easy for him to hit you with him. Alright, we're coming back from spawn here. You have other footage of you playing different characters. Now is the time to play Juno or Lucio, if you hadn't gotten Lucio yet. You maybe have a point touch, and you do have 2 ults. So maybe if you're able to get your team to the point, you might have a contest. Juno speed ring helps speed your team out. Lucio speed boost helps speed your team out. Pick one and go it. And you don't have ult. If you had ult, stay. But you don't, I would say switch, go Lucio or Juno here. I would be looking to maybe touch. Your Doom's got it though. I would say damage boost him. I would say you like to keep your ulting Kree at a little bit more HP than is necessarily required. Alright, now we're just fucking around. Feel free. I mean, go for it. But you're playing at that point. You're playing. That fight was lost. Fascinating. Alright, we switched who is playing Ana and who was playing Mercy, but we're keeping Ana Mercy. I don't have any words. That's just so strange. So, like, did you have a conversation with Yoon about this? I'm fascinated. Anyway, all right, we're looking at our team comp. We got Hog. My general rule is if you have a Hog, you should have a Kiriko to start off with, because Hog dies to CC and purple. If they run a Queen or an Ana, your Hog is dead pretty much immediately if you don't have a Kiriko. And when you're on defense especially, I don't like to take that risk. It's not necessarily a must-have, but I think it's usually worth it until you know what the enemy team is playing. Now, to be fair, you could assume that the enemy team was playing what they were playing before, which was not an Ana. If that's your thought process, reasonable, I understand it. It still probably wouldn't be what I do because I'm scared of my tank dying. I still like the Mercy pick because, like I said, your Kree was doing real good. And if you have one person on your team who's doing real good, Mercy's a good pick. People will fight you on this, but they're wrong. If you specifically have one person on your team who's doing way better than everybody else, as long as they're a good damage boost target, i.e. not Widow, or like Ball, not Widow or Ball, or like Sombra, you know, bad damage boost targets, it's worthwhile to play a Mercy to support that person. And then you'll get yelled at by the enemy team. Now it comes to the Ana pick. I think it's fine. I think Juno's just better. She's just the best support still right now. I would say the caveat to just picking Juno is maybe if you have like Ilari or Zen. Maybe you could make it work, but maybe not with a Hog. Hog takes a lot of damage. And Ilari and Zen both do not a lot of fast healing, and Juno doesn't do a lot of fast healing. Anyway, you're playing a Hog now. Weird time to play Hog. Don't love Hog here. Kind of feels bad. I don't have a reason other than it just feels wrong. It does not feel like you should be playing Hog. Okay, so for this bit, I got my friend to also record some with me because he's an Ana specialist, but my recording just didn't recording. So I remember all of the things that he said, so I'm just going to point them out myself, and we'll just pretend that they were my thoughts and I'm a genius. Sound good? Everybody go with that, right? So I don't love that we're starting in hard scoped because this is a Widow map. You gotta be careful on Widow maps being scoped in like at all, because you are simply just the best target for a Widow. And it turns out they do have a Widow, which highly likely on this map. So you want to be very, very careful hard scoping in like this. This positioning also isn't amazing. If your team was up on the high ground also, it wouldn't be as bad, but because your team's all down here and it's a Widow map, I'd like to see you either hang out over here. That way you can use this post over here for cover, or alternatively down here. This also gives you protection from getting one shot by people who go over this. Genji, Junkrat, and Widow can all get over that and like land on your head and kill you very quickly. When you're by yourself, you're in extra danger from that happening to you. Obviously, I know it doesn't, but it's something to keep in mind. We missed our nade by a little bit, but we were going for the right place. I think we could have tried to get it a little bit farther back there, but definitely the right idea. Little bit of map knowledge there. They changed it, so it didn't used to be there. I don't see the value in shooting this Sigma. He's got this extra health on him. And he also has a bajillion health, and you don't do all that much damage. I think those bullets are legitimately just more valuable sitting in your gun, and being able to do other things like unscope and move quickly to a position where you can see this Kree, or just heal the Kree a little earlier. I don't think that nade was necessary. I think either just don't use it and hold it, or strafe all the way to like over here and chuck it down main at the enemy team.
Stand up straight.
Did not end up being important because they're back.
Sword for your wounds.
That was a good one. I don't mind that. Shots on the soldier. I would say don't look at him for as long as you do. As soon as he stopped peeking and stops peeking for a couple seconds, for like half a second, he either ran away to get health or he put his health station down. Either way, you know that your next shot won't kill him at this point, which means it's significantly less valuable than what you're thinking, which is like maybe the next shot will kill him, or what I think you're thinking. I think you just stop shooting this guy earlier. That way you could maybe try and help your Hanzo, who gets absolutely deleted there. You apologize for the Hanzo's death, and I think there's a little bit you could have done, but like not a lot, you know? I think even if you hit a shot on him, he might still have died. He was very, very fast. Your team's backing up. That's the right play. I'm noticing that you have good target prioritization. It's probably from the Mercy. Everything that I said about main heals Mercy, when I was talking about that, how you like switch between people and you shouldn't do that on Mercy, that is what you should be doing on Ana. 100% correct. Keep it up.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Just keeping people up.
Get in there.
I don't like this Nano at all. You give it to him when he's like here.
You're powered up. Get in there.
This lad is behind a wall. He can't see anybody. He's mid reload. You have like two options, right? When you're using Nano, you could use it to try and get somebody to pop off, or you could use it to save someone's life. You're playing here to try and get this hog to pop off because he wasn't low, but you're around the corner. He's around the corner and he's reloading, so it's just not an optimal time. If you're going to give it to the hog, wait until he's in LOS, maybe even mid hook on somebody. But I think the better play here is to give it to your Kree. Your Kree's been popping up. He's doing a good job. He's right there. He's doing a nice little jump. Give it to him. Maybe in a little bit. Maybe when they're a little bit further forward, give it to your Kree. Alternatively, wait until someone on your team is dying, especially looking to save your hog like that.
Step right up.
I like that healing nade. He's good. We cancel the signal. Excellent work by the team. We're doing the thing again here where we're scoping a lot. Be very careful scoping a lot. You don't want it. I know because I've seen this again because my footage got deleted, but you end up scoping for like the whole game. The more you can shoot unscoped and hit your shots, the more value you get, because you shoot faster when you're unscoped and you also move faster. Theoretically, the best possible thing you could always do is hit every unscoped shot. Some situations you're just not going to be able to hit the unscoped shot, and that's when you want to use your scope. But most of the time, unscoped. Get to a place where you are more comfortable shooting unscoped. Excellent nades. Threw a sleep dart. Hail Mary sleep dart. It was fine. Your team is all deceased, run away. Oh, another thing about the aiming down sights there. There were a couple times where you couldn't see your whole team because you were aiming down sights the whole time. And if you're aiming unscoped, you're able to keep your whole team in your FOV, your field of view. And that way you are able to know more about what's happening. The more you know, the more you can react properly to the situation. We run away. Run away! So I don't think that this was a good idea. It was a good nade. It hit both of them. But you're putting yourself in a position where it's possible for you to die, and you don't really want to be in a situation where it's you want the possibility of you dying here to be as low as possible because you need your team to reset. So I would say just be far back. Just your Kree's backing out, you back out, all that. Not bad. We get hit there, headshot, and because we're scoped in, it takes us too long to move. If you're unscoped there, I think you get around the corner before the Kyoko can shoot you again. But your Mercy bails you out. Nice job, Mercy, thanks.
Thank you, Angela. I've got you. Being fortified.
I kind of like that one, to make sure that the Mercy gets healed around the corner.
Come here to get healed.
Ooh, ooh. So, this is unfortunate, right? We miss 3 shots on the Kree here, and then we have to nade. We feel like we have to nade in order to make sure that he lives. I think it was a good idea to choose to nade at that point. You're like, he needs to live, and I'm not hitting my shot. So, you need to nade. But, you get so much more value if you simply hit that shot, hit one of those shots, and then are able to nade these people here. So, this is the only time that I noticed throughout this where, like, aim is an important thing on Ana. But you hit that shot, one of those shots, and you get a purple off on these guys, I think that's fight winning.
Get in there.
In and of itself. We get a... Sorry, Nano. 99% of your target focus is good. Or fine. This one was wrong. Shoot the Zarya first, because they're nanoed and forward. Your Kree's excellent. He's a good boy. But your Zarya had nano. It didn't end up being important. She lived anyway, but not with very much HP, as you see there. And I'd like to see you have
Just a moment.
shot her at least once before you switch to it.
That must sting.
Nice Kobe nade. When you have opportunities to go for those, just go for them. Just for the old charge.
Enough whining. You're fine.
I don't like this play. I think it puts you in too much danger, and it doesn't get nearly the value that like you'd need to be able to think that to be able to have that be a good play.
Come over here.
I'd like to see you just push up here in order to get the Zarya and LOS. You don't need to be that much forward. You can just be like here. It's not all that much more revealing to the enemy team. It's not very far to walk, and it gets your Zarya in your LOS. We're firing it well. Fuck that Sigma in particular. This is fine. All of that was just a little bit slow. We were just a little bit behind. So trying to have, like, all the right choices, but just slightly faster. Nade slightly faster, move your position slightly faster.
I have you. Keep fighting.
Feel free to go for that poke, as long as the Zen's not there. He's the only one who's going to be able to, like, 100% delete you. That's unfortunate. You could have maybe been faster with the shot on him and saved him. And same with the Mercy. Like, it's, like, difficult. I'm not even sure I would have been able to hit that shot in time. But if you could, it would have been valuable. So keep that, like,
Get together.
try and get yourself to a point where you can get as much of that value as possible. They send ult for reasons. We back up and, like, think about going on the high ground, but then don't. I think you're that invested in it. It's fine. Like, it's not going to take you any more time to walk up the stairs as down, and then you just get slightly more high ground advantage.
أنا ما حدش يقدر عليا.
I think we reload there when we don't need to, mid-fight. You want to try and reload as much as possible when something bad's not happening. But I don't think you need to do that. This Nano, it was not the best. I'm sorry.
My ultimate is ready.
Um,
I won't let you fall.
You ping that you have it,
Load up. Get in
but
there.
you don't know where the enemy team is. They're here, which is pretty far away, but they could be way farther back. And your Zarya has kind of a long ways to get here. So, like, the vast majority of this Nano so far has been spent on walking. Like, at least half of it was spent on walking. And that's just not optimal.
Hold on. Reloading.
Good ping. Good ping. Tunnel visioning a little bit there. I think our Kree was low at the same time. I'd like to see you look at that.
Covering you.
Do you know that that's not going to hit you? I don't feel like you do necessarily know that. I'd like to see you unscope for a second to make sure those circles aren't on you.
Come here to get healed.
It's good to keep this guy in mind. You ping him. After you ping him, you have to move on. He either comes to you or he doesn't. But you notice the Mercy gets him, and you stop paying attention at that point, and that's correct. I'd like to see a sleep dart on this Bastion. In general, because I've seen this more than once now. In general, you use sleep dart kind of infrequently. You could use it more often. Our Mercy reses at low HP in front of a Sigma, gets rocked. We save her. We are the best. We are truly the best Ana player of all time. And what do we do to get rewarded for this? Mercy, beam on no one, staring down the barrel of a Sigma. She knows you're there because she was just being healed by you. And what does she choose to do? Ignore your ass and let you die. I cannot. The gall on this girl. And then she just like does a dance over there for some reason. But you win the fight. You know, whatever. It's just irritating.
My ultimate is charging.
If that was me, I would be like typing angry face in the chat for that. And it's not, I'm just simply not a good person, but it happens.
I keep you up.
You managed to get out of that. Good. Focus the Mercy. Excellent. I think your target prioritization. I think your target prioritization is one of your strongest qualities.
Helping you out.
All right, so you just got ult dumped here. Your Kree's backing off. I think you just run. And then you do, and you hide behind this post, and it's good, and you're trying to save your Zarya, who's taking this fight for some reason. And you just get staggered, and they use some very strong ults. And then you lose. You maybe could have stood on the point for like half a second, but it wouldn't really have mattered. This whole thing is just so unfortunate, right? We're at here.
I won't give
We're not.
ultimate is charging.
We kind of won the team fight, right? We're still holding the space, but we're down 2. So it's not everybody's in the best position. You don't have time to reposition to somewhere else.
I'm really feeling this.
I keep you up.
I would say don't go for that nade, because it's unlikely to do anything. Like, the person was on the high ground, so you need to like hit them with the direct on the nade, and that's just unlikely. It's better off to be held and used for a situation that's more likely to hit something. Obviously, you don't know they're gonna Sigma ult right now, and it would be useful there, but like just in general, it would be useful at some point for something. Right target prioritization, like I said, could have maybe hit the shot earlier. That's just a practice sort of thing. So right now, you're in a, like, you should know by this point that you definitely need to get out. This is terrifying. And you heal yourself, and then, yeah, I think that's right. Your Zarya just staggers, your Kree staggers. Use a bunch of ults. This just sucks. Alright, so, some closing thoughts. First of all, that sometimes the stuff's just really unfortunate. You guys got really close to capping, like, twice, and they managed to do it the first time that they had an opportunity. And a certain amount of that is just luck. There's things that you definitely could have done to put your team in a better position for the team fights that you almost were able to cap, but sometimes you're 0.1 meters away from the end, and like, you know, there's certain levels of that's just unfortunate. Stuff happens, but I really think that we have definite improvements that we can make. And some of the things that I would like to see you work on Mercy is just to have more trust in your team when they're doing well. Have awareness of who's doing well and who's not doing well. Have trust and let them do the damage. That ties into both doing the kind of main heals mercying as well as also the glocking. If you find yourself taking out the Glock as much as you did, you might just want to switch to somebody else, because it indicates that you want to try and get that damage value, and you didn't need to. Your Kree was doing a good job. I'd love to see you just find the person who's doing well and help them get more value. Of course, this is something that differs from game to game, so like this is not the same advice that I would give to someone who's playing with an other healer who isn't doing well. So the things that I'd like to see you improve on with Ana is focusing on doing as much hip firing as possible. Because you aim fast, because you shoot faster, because you move faster, it's more valuable. You only really want to use aiming down sights when it's a shot that you cannot hit when you're hip firing. Also, there were a couple times where someone was low and you scoped in on them and then took a while to find them. I'm thinking Mercy in the sickle. What you could potentially do in that situation is called quick scoping on Ana. So what you do is you aim down sights very quickly and you trigger your shoot before the animation is even finished on the aim down sights. That way you're able to move to use the faster movement of not aiming down sights, and then the value of having a hit scan shot when you shoot. The other thing with Ana is to be careful of your positioning. There were a couple times where you were very close to some cover, but you weren't using it. And if you just play a little bit more behind the cover, you can get more protection. It means you're less likely to get killed. Though, quite frankly, you didn't really die all that much on Ana. So that's not something that would have impacted this game all that much, but it is something that's very important in general on Ana. Your nanos definitely could work on using them at a time that's more helpful for your teammate. Instead of trying to use it to make them get in there, wait until it's a time where they will get value and then give it to them. But you want to make sure that they are, at the very least, in their character's effective range when you give Nano. Sleep Dart, you could definitely stand to use Sleep Dart a little bit more often. Overall, I think your target focus when you're playing main heals is your strongest ability. I think your movement on Mercy is very good. When you're damage boosting versus healing on Mercy, also pretty good. I think your core understanding of the game is very strong, and there's a couple things that are very stand out to me about your gameplay that you can improve. And I think if you make those changes, you could really see some major changes in your rank. So hopefully this was interesting, maybe helpful, maybe. Go ahead and give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you watched this far, and I'll see you again on Sunday, hopefully. I think we're setting a schedule. I'm not definite, but I think so. And that's all. Goodbye. The only time that really came up. But I'd say it's... Excuse me. But I'd say it's an important thing. Bruh. I'm a little bit worried about keeping... Oh, my mic. Oh my god. Stop just pocketing your carry. And you're like, I've never met this person in my life. I just watched them pop off. And I have a brain. I'll cut all that out.